Alrighty, so little news of the week episode on this Thursday afternoon as we are now officially in the international break. Also, I do not know why exactly it's a little bit blurry when it comes to the video quality. I do apologize for that, but as I always say, for many people, they're probably just listening to this like a podcast. So I guess, even though it is a little blurry and it's kind of hard to see on the board, it shouldn't be a bit of a problem for people that are just kind of listening to this as a podcast. So the first big news that we're going to talk about is Antoine Griezmann. So you know how a couple of weeks it feels like that deal is off of him going to Orlando City? Well, a couple of days ago there was rumor that now it seems like that deal is back on, and apparently Orlando City got the deal done, as it was just announced a couple of days ago that Orlando City have acquired Antoine Griezmann as a designated player, and he is still going to be with Atletico Madrid at least until the end of the season, and will now join this team once the World Cup concluded. And it's very rare that I see when teams name link with big names, and there's close to getting it over the line, but unfortunately unable to do so. That just a couple of months later, let alone a couple of weeks later, that it seems like eventually they still got the move done. More times or not, I would have seen maybe that ship has sailed with Antoine Griezmann going to Orlando City, or maybe even coming to MLS as well. Well, actually, not the coming to MLS because he's always had some strong interest of playing in this league. But I thought that that ship has sailed with him going to Orlando City, and especially of how bad Orlando City has gone this season. I mean, that's kind of an interesting destination for Antoine Griezmann to go to. But alas, like I said, I gotta give credit to Orlando City. They eventually get this deal done. Now, obviously, is that going to solve the issue that Orlando City has right now? Well, maybe. I mean, it definitely solved the goal scoring problem. Though you got to say that this team, when you look at the numerous problems they have, goal scoring is definitely a thing that isn't really too much of an issue. Even though I know some of their star players have kind of underachieved in the beginning of the season, but there's no doubt that they're going to pick up as the season goes along. The defense and the goalkeeping is a big issue for this Orlando City side. And unless if they don't address that for the remaining of this transfer window or maybe in the summer as well, I don't know if this really move a needle in terms of really rocket Orlando City back to being a cup contender. And not to mention the fact that they also are still in the works of looking for a new head coach as well after they decided to let go of Oscar Pereira after just 3 games as well. But still, I can understand why Orlando City fans are very excited about this move. Again, it is a very big name, another big name player coming from Europe. That even though he is definitely on the last leg of his career, is get and that this also doesn't really help the stereotypical thing that Euro snob always said that MLS is kind of a retirement league, even though I've said time and time again that just is not the case anymore, especially with the good young talent that has produced from this league and eventually sold off for a huge amount of money. But yeah, overall, I think Orlando City fans, they'll be very happy about this. I mean, they haven't had a lot to cheer about this season, but getting a big name player and a guy that probably is right up there in terms of the quality that Kaká was when they got him in the inaugural season. I think Orlando City fans are going to be very excited about this move, even though I don't know if it really moves too much of a needle in terms of them getting themselves back to being a contender in the East. Now, FC Dallas, they are reported to sign former Timbers attacker Santi Moreno on loan with an option to buy as well. So Santi Moreno, of course, we all know what happened in terms of his fallout with the Portland Timbers. Eventually, he did get his move to go to Fluminense, and like many MLS player, when they go down to South America, especially in the Brazilian league, it hasn't really quite worked out as the way that Santi Marino wants. Now it seems like he is gonna look to come back to MLS, and Dallas is definitely a team that's looking to get him. Though I will say this with Dallas, I mean, I feel like this could potentially have Lucho Acosta 2.0 written all over it, considering the fact that I know Santi Marino does have the quality, but his maturity issue is definitely a huge problem. And when Dallas, of course, got Lucho Acosta, that was kind of the same issue, where the quality is definitely going to be be there, but is he going to be mature and will he actually fit the system that Peter Quill wants to run? So yeah, I can understand why Dallas fans are a little bit skeptical about this. But if there's one good news about this move, unlike the Lucio Acosta situation, if it doesn't work out with Santa Marino, with FC Dallas, he's only going to be on loan. Anytime when you have a on loan with an option to buy, it's always a low risk, high reward situation. So if this doesn't work out for Dallas, they may be looking to get another DP10 this summer as well. But yeah, like I said, there's no doubt that this feels like it's a little bit of an underwhelming move, even though if Santi Marino can put that maturity issue to the side and show the quality that he definitely shown during his time with the Portland Timbers, this could be a really good signing for FC Dallas and really fits the missing puzzle that I think this team would legitimately be a contender in the Western Conference, and that is getting that quality DP10. Now, the Seattle Sounders, they are report to set to trade Georgie Menungu to the Colorado Rapids. Now, while it might sound like this is a strange move by the Seattle Sounders, you got to remember the Sounders have a lot of depth in the winger position, and Menungu, he has appeared a couple of time off the bench as well, but it just feels like he's kind of getting less and less minute because of how much depth that the Sounders have in the winger position, and especially with the Rapids, they're looking to spend big to try to get their man. I mean, the Sounders can't say no to that. I mean, the amount that is reported as $2 million gam. That is a lot of money to get Georgie Manungu. And I know Manungu who has a lot of ability, especially with his speed as well. That is going to be a thing that is kind of the reason why he looks so good when he comes off the bench as well. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that is he really worth $2 million for a guy that seems to work better coming off the bench. Apparently, the Colorado Rapids says it is, and yeah, again, I know this would be a little bit of depth for the Sounders, especially with their winger depth. But like I said, they have just so much winger depth in this team, and the fact that you just can't say no to a 2 million general allocation money for a guy that usually are used for coming off the bench. I think the Sounders will definitely take it, even though they will lose a little bit of quality of the likes of Manungu, of how he always trouble defender with his speed, especially when he comes off the bench as well. Now, speaking of the Colorado Rapids, they also made a signing this week as they have officially acquired Cozy Thompson in exchange for up to 400,000 general allocation money to Toronto FC. Now, this is kind of a bit of a strange move because Cozy Thompson. It is safe to say that he has not had a great start to the season with Toronto FC, and I think TFC kind of realized that, and this is why they decided to add some more defensive structure on this team. But now they're starting to get rid of some of those guys that kind of make their defense look really poor in the first couple of games, and Cozy Thompson is definitely one of those. Now, maybe him going to a new team that might be a good change of scenery. I mean, the Colorado Rapids have always known for the past couple of years to take reclamation projects, so this might be the latest reclamation project that they'll take. Not quite sure if it will work out, especially I know this is a team that desperately needs some defensive help. I don't know. Getting Cozy Thompson is definitely the answer to help booster their defense. Maybe for the depth itself, because again, doing his time with Toronto, especially this season, he is not a starting caliber defender, and to pay 400,000 general allocation money. I mean, I know no general allocation money nowadays. It feels like the number is significantly inflated compared to previous season, because we have teams that are dropping like 1.5 million dollar or even just for a depth piece or a young promising piece nowadays. But still, again, I guess for if you look at this trade, I think some might say the Toronto FC might did the right thing and maybe kind of won this trade a little bit of getting at least some sort of money for Cozy Thompson, consider how bad he is. But then again, the Rapids, they know how to claim reclamation project and know how to kind of redevelop them to be decent, and we'll see whether or not if this is going to be that kind. Now, moving on. So, I talked about Antoine Griezmann, of course, coming to Orlando City, the latest big name player coming to MLS. Well, there's a case where we might get a couple other big names coming to MLS, and the latest big name is Mo Salah. So, it was announced recently that he will not return to Liverpool next season. He's going to leave the team at the end of the season. And instantly, when that announcement was made, there's a lot of speculation. Is he coming to MLS? Is he going to go to Saudi Arabia? Obviously, Don Gabber have kind of mentioned the fact that he would really love to see Mo Salah come to MLS, and there's no doubt that with the quality that Mo Salah can bring, he is definitely a guy that even if he is definitely a low near the end of his career, still can bring a lot of quality on the attacking and especially with his speed. Now, the thing is that which MLS team is going to try to get him? I've heard a lot of people talk about Inter Miami being that team because apparently Inter Miami they like their old narrative is the fact that they're always like with everybody, especially with big name player. I don't know if this could help Inter Miami and the fact that if he does decide to sign Inter Miami, I'm pretty sure the MLS general public is going to be very happy about this move. And the fact that when you also look at financially, it also wouldn't work because the way that Inter Miami is already maxed out on their DP spot. I think they're gonna have to come up with different loophole to try to get him outright. So, if Inter Miami is not the team to get Mo Salah, I'm pretty sure there are other big name teams like the Galaxy, NYCFC, and all the big market team is looking to try to get him as well. But yeah, for now, with him decided to announce that he's gonna leave Liverpool at the end of the season, it definitely created a big speculation of where exactly he is come he's gonna go next. I've always heard that during his the end of his tenure with Liverpool that it feels like Saudi Arabia most likely would be the place for him to go because that's usually kind of how the path is with a lot of these star players of either going to Saudi Arabia or you're just gonna go to MLS to finish your career. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see where he decide to go after the end of the season and whether if there's going to be a lot of MLS team, especially those big market MLS team that's looking to line up to trying to get him to sign with their team. Now, speaking of big name players, so Casemiro is another big name player that is linked to potentially come to MLS. So apparently the LA Galaxy and Inter Miami are both report to have strong interest to sign Casemiro. So again, if he decided to join Inter Miami, it also kind of doesn't make any sense when it comes to financially because I feel like that's also kind of require a DP spot. But there's no doubt that Inter Miami desperately need to sign a replacement for Sergio Busquets. I mean, you clearly see that in this season they really miss Busquets and Alba badly, especially the ability that Busquets can control that midfield and also set up things. Now, I'm not quite sure if Casemiro would be that guy to do so, and especially I also think that out of both of those teams, I feel like the Galaxy are probably going to be the one that takes the strongest swing. Considered they need to have a good midfield present and a guy that maybe is kind of a temporary replacement for Ricky Puig in that spot, and maybe they'll go on a heavy swing to trying to get Casemiro. And it's also not like this is the first time that the Galaxy have decided to show some strong interest of some Brazilian player as well. So yeah, very interesting to see whether if one of those teams are going to get him, and it's also going to be interesting whether this will happen as well because I know Casemiro is also kind of near the end of his tenure, especially at his peak playing in Europe. But there could be a case that he might be happy to stay with Man United and basically this move probably will not happen. Unlike the potential Mo Salah move that maybe could be happening in him coming to MLS, especially with him announcing just recently that he is going to be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. Orlando City player Nicholas Rodriguez, who's currently on loan with Atletico Nacional. So now there's a report saying that he is now facing rape investigation in Colombia. Now, obviously, we don't know exactly if indeed he is found guilty of that. As there's a lot of speculation in terms of whether or not if this is true. But yeah, that's not a good look for him, and especially if he is found guilty, I'm pretty sure Orlando City will find way to trying to terminate his contract because again, he is technically still on the book of Orlando City. He's only going on loan with Atletico now, but yeah, the investigation does prove that he's guilty. They have no choice. They have to to either terminate his contract or exercise a buyout, and that would be just such a problem and such a sad way to have to use it because he was definitely showed some promise during his time with Orlando City, but now decided to go on loan to Colombia, maybe continue to develop his career, and now it feels like his career is in serious jeopardy because of this whole rate investigation. Now, moving on to a more happier news. So, Sam Surridge has officially named as the player of the month. He also was the player of the week last week as well, but I just want to mention him winning the player of the month award, and he deserved it too. I mean, he has just been off to an incredible start. I mean, he just kind of picked up where he left off last season as well, and a guy that easily could score a 20 plus goal once again, and a guy that he's definitely on a mission to try to win the Golden Boot because he came very close last season, just got beat out by Messi last season. But this season, with how hot of a start that he is, there could be a case that he's definitely playing for it. And wouldn't even be surprised that, I mean, I say he was going to score 20 plus goal. Wouldn't even be surprised if he scored 25 plus goal, consider that national team is absolutely loaded going for on the attacking end. I mean, that front three for Nashville, I said that front three is going to be very scary and it's going to be a problem. Oh, you betcha. It is. It's definitely a problem right now for the rest of the East with the way how they have crushed their opponent, especially against teams that they should beat. I mean, that is a very scary fought for any team that has to face Nashville now of how good they are and a team that I know it's only 5 games into the season and this is a long season, but if they can keep up the way that they are, or even I wouldn't expect them to keep up the whole season because every team does have a bit of a setback. But if they can look like this near the end of the season, there's not going to be a lot of team that is going to stop this Nashville team in the playoffs. And I know some Inter Miami fans would say otherwise, but remember they already beat Inter Miami and already passed that test in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So yeah, that's how scary Nashville is, and also how scary that front three is performing for them right now. Now, NYCFC, they have announced that they have finally put the final steel beam of the structure of their new soccer-specific stadium that is Etihad Park. So that's definitely a great milestone, and it seems like the timeline is still set to happen where next year they will open that stadium in July. The good thing about with the way how the schedule works, and especially with next season, is the season where the MLS season is going to switch from a spring to fall model to a fall to spring model, and obviously we do have the sprint season, so NYCFC will have to kind of unfortunately suffer one last season playing at a baseball stadium, whether at Yankee Stadium or at Citi Field. But the good news is because of how the timeline is set, they don't really have to worry about potentially have to play a lot of games on the road to begin the season, and then by then they'll finally have their new stadium ready. We see this happen with a lot of teams. Inter Miami is basically dealing with that. Have to play a lot of road games to start because their new stadium isn't ready until April. But yeah, again, definitely a great milestone for NYCFC. And now we can finally put aside the jokes about NYCFC playing at a baseball stadium and them being homeless. I mean, it was great memes and great jokes while it lasts. But yeah, I think NYCFC fans and pretty much everybody is happy. The fact that this team finally plays at a soccer system stadium. Even myself is very happy that they finally found themselves a new home because let's be honest, watching them playing at a baseball stadium and watching the broadcast of them playing at a baseball stadium just makes my eye hurts, and I'm pretty sure it makes a lot of people eyes hurt, and even NYCFC fan watching their game, and it just feels absolutely embarrassing to have to still play in a baseball stadium even in the year of 2026 as well. Now, speaking of new stadiums, so Sacramento Republic, remember how they said that they were ready to build that rail yard stadium, that 12,000 seat stadium that can potentially expand to 20,000 seat about a couple of months ago? Well, now it looks like they have got rid of that plan. Instead, they have now come up with a new plan where they're going to build a 20,000 seat stadium to replace the original one, and they expect it to break ground with that new stadium relatively soon. And I know I don't have my phone with me, so I can't really show you the stadium and all the rendering as well. I would recommend for people to, of course, check out the rendering. You can even see it on the Reddit page, or you can just Google it, say Sacramento Republic new stadium, and you'll see the rendering. But from what I see, at least from the rendering, and especially the way that they're gonna make this a 20,000 seat stadium, and potentially can expand up to 27,000 seat as well. It just kind of makes me think that is there a chance that MLS might be coming to Sacramento once again? I know that obviously Sacramento have said that they're not looking to come to MLS, and I don't blame the Sacramento hasn't think about coming to MLS after they've been screwed over so many times over the year. But I mean, when you look at that stadium and when you look at the ambitions they had, if they do build that stadium, which they'll definitely will. That is hands down probably the best USL stadium. And I know Louisville City fans will definitely disagree with me, but that stadium right there, when you just look at it, that does not look like a USL Championship stadium. That looked like a stadium belong in MLS, and especially with the capacity as well. I think there's only like 5 or 6 other soccer specific stadium that has a bigger capacity than what Sacramento Republic is about to do. I mean, that stadium definitely has plan of not just the fact that the Republic is going to be playing in the USL and potentially playing in the new first division in the USL and the USL Premier, but there is definitely a strong push. The fact that they could potentially be one of those teams that's come to MLS. And if that of course is the Quakes, great on them because for a long time I always say that I want Sacramento to come to MLS. And I can understand why they don't want to because the way that like I said they've been screwed over so many times. But with this ambitious plan, I mean there could be a case that with the way that Don Gabber have already mentioned that we're gonna go to 32 team, and I know Indy is definitely one of those teams that most likely is gonna be the 31st or 32nd team, but I would not be surprised they'll say that Sacramento will be that, especially they have everything right now. They have the stadium, they have the infrastructure, they also have the fan base that can support an MLS team. Obviously, the ownership group is still going to be a bit of a question, especially would they have enough to afford that expansion fee, which it doesn't maybe seems like they do, but with this stadium, this could be maybe just a whisper. The fact that I know it seems like on paper it's gonna be set up as a high standard of a team to be in the first division of USL in the upcoming season, but it also can be a sign that maybe those MLS talk of coming of going to Sacramento might not be going away just yet. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of this News of the Week episode. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of these news, and if there's any news I didn't mention here on the board, let me know in the comments below as always. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.